coming to you from my house, my kitchen in Ireland. You're very welcome. Andrew, hello, everybody, hello, Helen, hello, every one of you. Hello, TM McKee, or T McKee. Hello, Lars. Hello, Jenna Solberg. Hello. This, some of you will know, maybe not all of you. This is Walt Whitman. This is, in my opinion, for what it's worth, thank you very much. Thank you very much. In my opinion, this is the greatest of the American poets. And this is the book, Leaves of Grass, where his life's work is published. And as he wrote poems throughout his life, he gradually expanded the collection. From a self-published collection in 1855 to, I think it was the 9th edition or something like that in 1892. So that's him, that's Walt Whitman, born on Long Island, died in New Jersey, a place called Camden, where he spent a lot of his life living. Whitman had a stroke in 1873, and he went to live in the house of his brother. So good evening and welcome. Thank you ever so much for coming. I'm Paul, and you are Grandma for Emily. Hello. Now I can look. Sarah, hello. Lars, hello. So, some of the people here I know, and some I have got to know very well, and I'm ever so happy to have made the friendship of, like Fishland, hello. Crafty Cutie, hello. Susan, hello. Susan Sailboat. Mike, Leo, hello. Oh yes, if by any chance you want to see a man having his hair cut, I strongly advise you to go to a scope that was done today by a man who's here on this scope. Now this is a diversion from poetry, but you're here for the first time. Oh yeah, well, no, Lars is welcoming people who have arrived for the very first time. And I'd especially like to welcome people who are watching this on the internet. People who are watching on the internet are like our disenfranchised brothers and sisters. They're not able to say anything. And I guess they have to put up with what we all say without being able to reply. But where would we be without people who are tuning in via the internet? So I tell you what, I have tears welling up. I have tears welling up tonight. Yes. And some of them were tears of amusement and fun as I looked back on the scope of our friend Lars, who had his hair cut. It definitely brought tears. And the reason Saudi Arabia, hello. Hello from Saudi Arabia. I do feel, by the way, that it was a step in the right direction for women to be elected to public office in Saudi Arabia. It may not seem like a huge step, and it probably isn't a huge step, but it's a historic step. And I would like to say that I was very pleased and I am very supportive, although I hope it doesn't take so long. The video is out. Is the video not good? Tell me, guys, is there something wrong with the video tonight? Can you hear me? First of all, can you hear me? It's good. Sarah's got it good. Alan's got it good. Okay, so some people, thank you very much, Susan, for inviting your followers, and especially thanks for inviting people from Twitter. I think it's really great that there's a chance. I'm sorry to hear it's choppy, but there's always a chance when people invite people that somebody who, you know, has a big interest and would love to be here arrives. So I must say it's lovely. But tonight I have a poem called Tears for you. Hello, Keith. Tonight's poem is a short poem by Walt Whitman called Tears. And the first phase, if you like, of the Walt Whitman show on Periscope is the gathering of people for a dinner party. I always think of it as a dinner party. And I always think that, you know, at the beginning of a dinner party, well, before you get the first course, which is what the first reading of the poetry is, people chat and say hello to each other, and so here, and some people even have a drink. Yeah, I've got no drink tonight, but you know, some of you may be actually having a drink at this moment in time. So I think that this is and you'd like some chocolate, right? Please pass the chocolates. And other people might like sesame sticks. Anybody into sesame sticks? My weekend has been, well, today wasn't a good day. Yesterday was, I went to see a film. I went to see the latest film from, I went to see a film. I can't tell you the name of the film. It was all about the Cold War, and it was all about Gary Powers and a Soviet spy in the United States called Abel, and about a historic swap bridge of spies. That's it. Good story, very good story. Very good story. And Hanks, what's his name? Oh, I'm very interested in, I tell you what we'll do. Let's have some poetry, and it would be good though to have a bit of a chat about films as well. Yes, Tom Hanks, thank you. I really like Tom Hanks, I have to admit. I don't know. By the way, here's a question for you. Here's a question for you all to consider. You're all into films. I'm quite sure that a good number of you are into films. Who would you like to play Walt Whitman in a film about Walt Whitman's life, or a bit of Walt Whitman's life? Who would you like to play Walt Whitman? Meanwhile, we have one preference on the table. I think it's being supported by NDA Silva. A second suggestion, a third suggestion, Spencer Tracy, I think he's not available. I think Daniel is getting a few votes. I'm very interested. So I think Anthony Hopkins, Robert Redford, right. Anthony Hopkins and Daniel Day-Lewis may even be running head to head. Right. While you're thinking about it, and I'm going to read you a short poem by Walt Whitman, and it's called Tears. And just to put it in context, last night we read a poem called As I Ebbed with the Ocean of Life, which really was a poem where Whitman said straight out that he was having a very hard time, and he was certainly not falling over himself with confidence, to put it very mildly. It was quite a... yeah. And we have Ian McClellan, yeah. Oh, I'll catch all the suggestions, and I think I'm going to take the suggestions and put them into a blog post. I think a blog post. Oh my goodness, Benjamin Omani. They can do magnificent things with their makeup. Yes. If we were to do the young Walt Whitman, there's a good idea. Yes, there is. Yes, there is, Susan. There's a picture of Walt Whitman, an image of Walt Whitman. Yes, a whole large number of them, as Andrew says, and they're all available in the Library of Congress. Oh, look, there you are, waltwhitman.org. Yeah, he's certainly photographed from about the age of 30, 35, yeah, very dapper, extremely dapper. Can you please, Warwick, mind your manners? You've come to a dinner party, and that's not how you speak to people when you arrive at a dinner party. If you arrived speaking language like that, you'd actually be lucky to be allowed to stay at the dinner party, and you certainly wouldn't be invited back again. So we'll have a little bit of civilization out of you. Yes, absolutely. Right, look, some people may be watching this and have been waiting politely for the poetry. So here it is. Walt Whitman, a poem called Tears, one of 7 new poems added to Leaves of Grass in 1867. So we've jumped ahead now 7 years to a poem written after the American Civil War. So the poem we read last night was before the Civil War. And some of us are gentlemen. Please, Susan. Yes. Some of us are gentlemen. So, Worry, you're welcome to stay if you behave yourself, and don't behave in a way that you wouldn't dream of behaving if you were in civilized company. So here we go. Tears by Walt Whitman, written in 1867. Tears, tears, tears. In the night, in solitude, tears. On the white shore, dripping, dripping, sucked in by the sand. Tears, not a star shining, all dark and desolate. Moist tears from the eyes of a muffled head. Oh, who is that ghost? That form in the dark with tears? What shapeless lump is that, bent, crouched there on the sand? Streaming tears sobbing tears, throes choked with wild cries. O storm, embodied, rising, careering with swift steps along the beach. O wild and dismal night storm, with wind, O belching and desperate. O shade so sedate and decorous by day, with calm countenance and regulated pace, but away at night as you fly, none looking. Oh, then the unloosened dream, the unloosened ocean of tears, tears, tears. And that is a poem called Tears by Walt Whitman. The unloosened ocean. The unloosened ocean of tears, tears, tears. I'll read it again. I'll read it again, and you'll take in more the second time. Its poem is called Tears, written 1867. Tears, 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 in the night, in solitude, tears, on the white shore dripping, dripping, sucked in by the sand. Tears, not a star shining, all dark and desolate. Moist tears from the eyes of a muffled head. Oh, who is that ghost, that form in the dark with tears? What shapeless lump is that, bent, crouched there on the sand? Streaming tears, sobbing tears, throes choked with wild cries. O storm, embodied, rising, careering with swift steps along the beach. O wild and dismal night, storm, with wind, O belching and desperate. O shade so sedate and decorous by day, with calm countenance and regulated pace. But away at night as you fly, none looking. Oh, then the unloosened ocean of tears, tears, tears. Love problems, no self-confidence, and tears. Greetings, Michael. Greetings. You'd like to think more about this whole sea drift sequence. It's as if Whitman took all of his poems about the sea and the sand and put them together. To me, it's a beautiful poem. It's a beautiful poem because in beginning with tears, 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 kind of sets a scene. And then in the night, solitude. So that again sets more of the scene. The story is being told. You're being invited to get into some semblance of feeling about the tears. On the white shore, dripping and dripping, sucked in by the sand. I mean, that dripping and dripping, okay, tears drip, but sucked in by the sand. Love to Gaza, love sad to Gaza. And I think the poem draws me in. It draws me in with incredible simplicity. Just the repetition of tears, not a star shining, not a star shining, all dark and desolate. It describes losing somebody close. Complete darkness. Well, you see, what I think is really, really interesting is that each one of us brings our own personal history and associations to this poem. The poem doesn't stipulate why tears. It doesn't say why, but it gives us from our own life. You know, we have lost relationships, we've lost people altogether. There is an architecture to its placement here. This is a very important point. It is very much in the center of the collection. Now, it's written 1867. It's written after the death of Whitman's hero. It's written during the relationship with Peter Doyle, at a time when Whitman was happy, may have been happiest in his life. Now, you can be happy, satisfied, feeling well, and still feel the emotion of what it is to have lost, or what it is to have lost, to be sad, to be desolate, and to be alone. In touch with sadness, exactly. In fact, to lose touch with sadness is to lose one of the essential building blocks of what it is to be human, I think. I mean, sadness, and you know, some people can literally cry tears, and some others don't literally cry tears, but feel just as much emotion as those who cry tears. And there are none of us. You can't reach. You cannot reach the age of 4 without experiencing major loss. It may not be, it may be the sobs of a nation, yeah. Sadness is sometimes unavoidable and expected, but otherwise is wasteful. I don't in front of people cry. Your dad told you not to show weakness, yeah. Interesting, yeah. But tears. Streaming tears. Sobbing tears. You cried tears today and yesterday. He asks, who is that ghost? Well, you see, a ghost can be somebody who is dead, hovering around, or it can be a ghost of a relationship. I mean, poets would use the word ghost in a number of different ways. I think the beauty in his poems could reflect how he often felt when alone. But, you know, why should we talk about Whitman? I mean, Whitman is Whitman, and the best way to know what Whitman meant by this poem is to go back to his letters, go back to reported conversations, go back to his biography. We can't do that. But what we can have is a response to this poem. O wild and dismal night, storm and wind. Yes, Lars, I know you always say from what you feel. And it's very interesting, I think, that he contrasts that during the day everything is really very ordered, calm countenance and regulated pace. I mean, calm countenance and regulated pace. The poem reminds you of your mother's death and yourself. You know, and we have vulnerability is very hard. Brings close the feelings you had as a young widow. Yes. For me, it brings me in touch with all the tears I've shed in my life. You have a night and day too. All the times my heart has been broken, all the times I've collapsed, all the times I've suffered, all the tears that haven't turned to water. It reminds me of that. That's just me. The unloosened ocean of tears. The way you watched the scope today and the guy cried, yeah. Oh wow. Did he cry from sadness or did he cry from beauty? God is your happiness. Today's poem is about tears. You don't often see men cry on Periscope. I don't think it's Lars you want to hire for your haircut. I think it's that wonderful barber who worked on Lars's head. You had almost cried when I told the story of the airplane crash in your daycare. He's a comedian reflecting on his life and was sad. Comedians are renowned. I mean, I'm not saying all comedians are anything, but comedians are renowned. Oh, you know, if you have any interest in the state of Lars's head and what he brings to the Walt Whitman show and what he brings out in society tomorrow morning, remember, of course, that on Monday morning Lars will go into work. After 2 years with a shrink trying to make you cry, you still keep it in. I only cry at night too. The world continues as if all is the same, but you feel as if your world is crashing. That is so, that I really resonate with that idea. The world carries on. You fall apart. You struggle. The world carries on. The world is still there for you, ready and waiting when you are no longer fallen apart. The world waits. I find it very, very encouraging to think of the world as having that quality of being accepting, no matter how you are, no matter how you feel. You hold your puppy when you're sad. It's the best therapy in the world. The warmth of a puppy, yeah. That's that's one of the big reasons I think that, people get puppies. Listening to the Walt Whitman show is good therapy. Men need to go hunt a bison more often. Well, you might know women are from Venus, men are from Mars. Either go hunt a bison or go into your cave and don't come back out until you're ready. Yes. NTM Biz, thank you so much for Natural Born Hunters. Hello, NTM, hello. Thank you very much. I sound like a priest. Yeah, that's the, you've emerged from your cave. Perhaps I really am a priest without knowing it. Perhaps I am a priest in sheep's clothing or something. Maybe I've been sent on a mission and haven't been told what the mission is. I see priests we got two very contrasting views of priests. Priests are storytellers. They certainly, all religions and all officials of all religious organizations are storytellers. If religions didn't tell stories, they would never have gained adherents. There is no religion I can think of. I remind you of your abuser. Right, well, perhaps it's good to be reminded of your abuser and not to forget. I mean, it's not for me to suggest anything to you at all, but I don't feel that there's anything wrong with you feeling like that. However you feel is however you feel. But yes, yeah. Tears. I think I'll read it again. I'm going to read Tears one more time. It's not a long poem, and I do think it's really right that what canto in IEP is the one about the priest? I would guess, Andrew, about canto 20. But The book is in my office and I don't want to go out after it. You've just given me an idea that the next time I publish Irish Epic Poem in 33 cantos, I'm going to put an index. I'm going to give it an index so that it's possible to find things quickly. I think that might be a good idea. What do you think? Okay, while I'm going to read you Tears by Walt Whitman. Tears by Walt Whitman. Tears, 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 in the night, in solitude, tears, on the white shore dripping, dripping, sucked in by the sand. Tears, not a star shining, all dark and desolate. Moist tears from the eyes of a muffled head. Oh, who is that ghost, that form in the dark, with tears? What shapeless lump is that, bent, crouched there on the sand? Streaming tears, sobbing tears, throes choked with wild cries. O storm embodied, rising, careering with swift steps along the beach. O wild and dismal night storm, with wind, O belching and desperate. O shade so sedate and decorous by day, with calm countenance and regulated pace, but away at night as you fly, none looking, O then the unloosened ocean of tears, tears, tears. I was just thinking, that there's another thought I have about the poem that comes to me, is imagine at the center of the poem is this ghost, this formless lump of a ghost. And the narrator comes across this lump, shapeless lump, bent, crouched on the sand, who's crying, streaming tears, desperate, in a really bad way, at night time. So this ghost is a central character in the poem. Kate, I'm sure you're right. Is it about himself, his sorrow? Lovely to have you, by the way. Welcome. Welcome. Well, it's more... Somebody will find the book sometime in which this poem might be explained by somebody. But this kind of shadow, the shadow crying, I'd say that one thing that we all have in common here on this scope tonight is that at some point in our lives, every one of us has cried, howled, tears, tears. Why? For ourselves, for the poor, hurt person that we are. We have cried for ourselves. We have experienced deep and abiding sorrow. And I don't mean sorrow for somebody else, I mean for ourselves. That little, tiny, sensitive ball of sensitivity that we are within. That vulnerable. Lars, you don't have to cry real tears. It's just that deep within everybody, I think, from infancy. Okay, I'm going to be a bit Freudian about it, if you like, but although that's a terrible. But right from our psychoanalytic, I don't mean Freudian, but from an early age, that little person is still alive. Rarely a day goes by that my eyes don't sweat. That's a wonderful start to a poem. That's a wonderful first line. Barely a day, you know? Yes, archetypical, yeah. Now we're going to have a Jungian interpretation. Where am I from? I'm living in Cork in Ireland. That's a small island off the west coast of Europe. I live down near the seaside on the south coast. Welcome back, Susan. Welcome back. Right. You never know on Periscope what people know and what they don't know. You're going to come and see me. Please do, Michael. Please do. You closed your feelings. Having kids, it does indeed. So it's well, if you're going to come here and start calling me mate, who you've never met before, without saying hello and without being civilized in any way, you know, you should really, I think, consider your behavior. You wouldn't behave like that to strangers in the real world. And I am really in a real world here. So, saying hello after you've been told that you should have said hello isn't worth anything. Nothing. And you know that yourself. Hello, Henry. Hello, Henry Murphy. Welcome. Welcome. So, we've had tears tonight. We've had tears. Henry Murphy, I must really find out who Henry Murphy is, because Henry Murphy looks very Irish. Okay, I don't know why you want to stay here. It clearly isn't a place that you're enjoying. And if you don't enjoy, just... Yes, I am a leprechaun. Yes, I was born a leprechaun. My father was a leprechaun. My mother wasn't a leprechaun. My mother was a fairy. But my father married a fairy and I am the offspring. So I'm sort of a half leprechaun. Yeah. No, it's... Oh... I have one of the highest values I have is actually to be kind. I have I generally speaking, except when I lose my cool, I'm generally speaking a kind person. And, you know, some people enjoy being provocative and they have some kind of a need it's a form of attention seeking. It is, yeah, it's trying to attract attention. So it usually indicates some kind of deep hole in their life, and they do need compassion. As Susan says, not everybody is what they seem to be. Hello, Jane. Hello, Jane Boyd. Hello. Hello. The end of, it's a coming-of-age movie. All right. I work in marketing. Nobody knows the struggle behind the face you see. That's... Oh. The truth is that it looks a little like that. But I do need the glasses. If I take my glasses off, I can read nothing. I'm blind in one eye, or reasonably. Yes, I've been married a few times, yes. Yes, I have. I've been married a few times, yeah. Melvin and Whitman met each other? That's a good question. I have no idea. Did Melvin? By the way, I saw the No, I don't. No, I don't. But I don't know what you think is the cause. I saw the trailer of the film Moby Dick last night. I'd be interested in. We must chat about that, Jane. The trailer of Moby Dick was absolutely lovely. I think it's it really got me. Now, of course, they make trailers to be incredibly vivid. Is Moby Dick a gay porn film? Well, I suppose if you want to think of the whale as a metaphor, it could be. No, I think... I think so. It's just that, it's sometimes I didn't see the movie. I didn't see it. I saw the trailer. It's starting, I think, on the 1st of January in Cork. And I haven't read Moby Dick. It was a... Oh, right. Have some of you seen the film? Oh, New X-Men, right. Have some of you seen the film Moby Dick? And Donna Loves Tarantino says it's pretty good. Oh, that's good. Yes, I think that's a good way of describing Susan as an onion. I totally agree with that. No, a new one. Not the black and white Moby Dick, the new one. You saw it at an XXX double feature. Oh dear. Whoopsie daisy, sorry I dropped the camera. Yeah. No, Susan, onions don't stink. Good Lord, no. A Star Wars, oh yeah. I liked Star Wars. In fact, I haven't seen all the Star Wars films, but I loved them. really did. So, have you seen a Love? New film is not Moby Dick. I haven't seen any film called Love. Now, this is a lovely question. What do I love most about doing your evening show? Now, what do I love most about doing the Walt Whitman show? I think it is the discovery in the company of such lovely people, the discovery of the poetry of Walt Whitman. And I mean that I don't think it certainly isn't the poetry by itself, but it's the extraordinary company. And, you know, it's not all about the poetry, but without the poetry, I don't think we'd be here. Oh, what a great movie Shrek was. What a great movie. Yeah, I've always had it in my mind, always, since I started doing the Walt Whitman show. I've always done my best, and I've always intended to do my best to foster a feeling of community, but a community within which different views can be expressed without anybody feeling a compulsion to persuade anybody that their view is the correct one. Comradely, yes, absolutely. Yes, to be comrades. Yeah. Difference without any compulsion to resolve differences or persuade people that any point of view. But also it's been a wish to give us all an opportunity to experience the poetry and not have an intellectual show. Creating a space, yeah. Shut not your doors to me, proud libraries, yeah. Well, it's been, Jane, I've learned from you. I have learned from you. I've learned from others, and I've learned from trial and error. But I certainly have to say that I feel I've learned from you in ways that I'd find hard to put into words. Do I drink? I do. I drink most things. I had gin and tonic tonight, and I had a bottle of beer. Good night, Mark. Good night, Mark. Many a repetitious word in this collection thus far. Tear, shine, blow, soothe. Yes. Yes. Oh, you have a beer. It's too late for me to have a beer now. It's actually time I went to bed very soon. I'm going to stay for about another 5 minutes. Well, it's not just me going to stay for another 5 minutes, because as soon as I go, you all have to stop. Although I suppose I could leave the scope running. I could leave the scope running all night, because I'm in a Wi-Fi zone. Mutual respect for each other. Do I know Ballion and Owl? Ballion and Owl? I do, of course, know Ballion and Owl. That's Ballydavid. Ballion and Owl in Kerry. Yeah. I could leave the Kate, you're so funny, really is. By the way, can I just say, it's 12:17. Can I just say to any of you who haven't been on Suntrine 1, on Suntrine 1 scopes, if you ever want to see the beauty of a rising sun or the beauty of a sinking sun, there's nowhere. Tel Aviv, hello. Thank you, Grandma, for Emily. Thank you. Thank you. No, I just want to, I do always think, you never heard of Kate. Well, you're a chancer, Lars. You're a chancer. Yes, I keep thinking of Mr. McGregor. Yes, Éire go bragh. Éire go bragh. The beauty of a rising star and some great sunrises and sunsets as well, yes. I think, without ever needing to write anything down, Kate's Suntrine 1 scopes are natural poetry. I would call them natural poetry, or else the poetry of nature, whichever phrase appeals to you. But she deliberately frames beauty in a way. Do you ever read poetry silent? I always read poetry aloud. I am hopeless at reading poetry silently. Even if I'm with nobody else, I'll read the poetry aloud. And I'll even read the poetry aloud in public if I travel on a train or something. I mutter to myself so that I can feel the words going out through my lips and the sound resounding in my larynx. I'm just hopeless at reading the words visually and oh, you're blocked. Oh, I see. Well, perhaps you two could have a conversation on Twitter about that. I have no idea what Kate's policies in relation to being blocked are. You want to sit on the train, Lars? You want to sit on the train? Actually, Lars, I don't think I want you on a train. No, I'd much prefer have you on a bus. You're much more of a bus guy. Oh, now, look here. Coming in a third-class compartment. Read poetry, yes. If Lars, you'd be a good companion, I think. A ferry, now you're talking. That's an interesting one. I'd prefer be on a rowing boat and Lars actually rowing it. Lars is quite a strong guy. Yeah, he's quite a strong guy, quite muscular, very big into DIY in the house, well able to hang doors. So I think being in a rowing boat with Lars would be quite an experience. It's snowing in the Sierras of Nevada and California. Wow. Wow. Oh, you look, Lars, you never look fat to me. You just look like a lump of muscle. Yeah. Well, look, guys, I could enjoy quipping and playing with you. I think Susan and Jane would get on incredibly well. Yes, I have been to Israel. I have. I went to Israel a long time ago, and I went to Kibbutz Beit Alpha. And I've never scoped about this or told this story here, but I've told it in my podcast. One of the nicest things I did in Israel was that I held a chuppah which is a canopy, during a wedding. That's what I did. But I could talk a long time about my impressions of Israel. Bye-bye to you all. All the best. Thank you very much for your company, and I look forward to have a good evening, have a good day. And I hope that the man from Snowy River, is having a good holiday. Thanks, Michael. Thanks a million. Thank you, Kathy. May the man from Snowy River be having a good holiday. Angels on your pillow, Susan. Bye-bye. Good night to you all.